Well, good evening YouTube. This is Corin again. Thought I'd do got a little gift in the mail today. Not a gift, had to pay for it myself, but I'll call it a gift because it makes me feel better about spending money. And I thought I'd use the opportunity to have a word to you folks about gas stoves. I've used gas stoves my whole life, and my first gas hiking stove was this little baby here. As you can see, she's pretty knocked up. I took pretty good care of it over the years, but I purchased it on or around 1988, 89, and I used it up until 98, 99. Had a lot of adventures in that time, so I can happily say that this stove saw it through. It had a few disadvantages, and we'll run through those. It uses a puncture type cartridge like this, which it doesn't reseal. It has a needle in the bottom there that punctures through the top of the cartridge, and then the gas comes out. The disadvantage of that is you can't take it apart until you've used up all the gas inside the cartridge. And what used to happen all the time was you'd knock the valve in your pack, and it'd be upside down or packed in pretty haphazardly, for me anyway, not very organised like that, and you'd lose all your gas, so you always had to carry a spare. So that was your hiking setup. You'd have to take the cooker and a spare canister wherever you went, because you never knew how much was in there. Very hard to tell once it's all strapped together. You can shake it around and get a bit of an idea, but not much. So we'll just have a little bit of a look at that running. She still works. That's just a bit of liquid flaring off because I just shook it. Maybe a second. That'll settle down. And there's the old girl going. As you can see, it's not exactly a roaring inferno, but she was a good stove in a day. And that was a camping gas model from around 1980, so I had that for 10 years. The next one I'm going to show you is the one I replaced it with, which is a Go Systems model, which has a, I can't read the label anymore, it's too far gone, but it has a rated capacity of 280 grams an hour, or it was 11 or 14 megajoules an hour. I'd have to do the calculations to work that out, and calculating 30% propane butane mix is always a bit hard. So anyway, regardless, there's a little cooker, and these use resealable aerosol type cartridges. So I went to this system. A lot of advantages to this system. We'll start off with the first one being that you can get different size cartridges depending on how long you're going for and what you're doing. There's 3 different sizes right there. But the other one is you can simply attach it to the cartridge in question you want to use, like that, and away you go, you're cooking. It can't accidentally get knocked on in your pack, and as you'll see, that's a pretty intense flame. It probably is close to 14 megajoules, but to put that into perspective, that's about 14,000 BTUs to the Americans out there. To put that into perspective, that's about the same size as a wok cooker on a standard domestic cooktop found in Australia. So it's not very big. It's very big for the size of the burner. This would have been around about 5,000 BTUs, or 4 to 5,000 BTUs, probably closer to 4, which is 4 megajoules an hour. We can go through how much gas they burn later, but that gives you a bit of an idea. Now I've had that stove now since oh, that's still hot. since I bought it, obviously. Yeah, it's been a good stove. I've got no complaints. It's bulky. My biggest concern with it is that when I get my pot here and I put my gas canister in there to pack it in my bag, it doesn't sort of fit in there, which isn't a big concern. But anyway, it boils water pretty quick with that high intensity flame that it's got, so it's seen me through. Let's fit that back together again. Now, another one is This one here, this is a cheap and cheerful one. To give you an idea, that weighs, this one weighs about 140 grams, just the stove. This one here weighs 256. There's a couple of brands similar to this. Companion do one, and Gasmate do one. You can tell there's not much gas in there, but it doesn't matter anyway. This doesn't use a lot of gas, this one. So we'll hook that up onto there and fire that up. And it has a capacity similar to this one of about 4,000 BTUs or 4 megajoules per hour, which is sweet Fanny Adams. Not a lot. So there's other models as well, like I never used this one, but you know, quite bulky. I never really had the room in my pack for that one. I didn't I think I got that as a sample to test. Anyway, long story. The other thing that I got today is an Optimus Crux to replace that stove. I figure I've had it for nigh on I don't know, 14 years. It's time I upgrade to something. This is half the weight, coming in at 72 grams, and frankly it's a nice tidy little stove, so I'll run you through that. I've never used this one before. This is its maiden voyage, so to speak. Screw it onto the canister. On here we've got the trivets, which open up like that, and we'll all get a bit of a surprise when we see this flame, because I don't know what I'm looking for either. And that's got a reasonable flame. The stats for this cooker state that it has a 10,200 BTU flame, or heat produced from that flame, so that's about 10 megajoules, and equates to about 5 hours to the kilo of gas. So roughly one canister of 230 grams, which is a standard canister like that, is going to last us an hour on the highest setting. So that's pretty good. Good compromise. So to just do a final, I'm pretty happy with that stove. Just a bit of a quick review on it. It's very small. They make a model that folds here, but I didn't get it because it was more expensive, and I just see it as an extra liability when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, that it could break. I probably won't. It's very well made, but you know, that's even lighter than the folding one, so save on grams too. So just to do a quick comparison of, say, these three stoves, that's full, that's full, and that's full. So you'll see the Go system stove is really putting out the flame. I'd suggest that 14 megajoules would be accurate for that stove. Whilst this one doesn't have quite the same intensity of flame, that nonetheless is much lighter. It's half the weight, and it's still an excellent flame that it's producing. If you have too big a flame, then you're going to waste a lot of heat out the sides. And this one up the back here, that's fine if you want to wait a considerable time for your food to cook. In terms of pricing, this one here sitting on top here cost me they cost about $20. This one sitting on top here cost me $45, but that was like 14 years ago. And this one here cost me $50. And I just think $50 for a stove that looks beautifully made actually is pretty reasonable. So I'll go with that. But a lot of people say, what about when you run out of gas and you get these canisters that are half used? For that, I use one of these, which is a light, and I burn all my canisters out with the light on either on car camping camps or on let me pull that out properly so you can look. Car camping camps or on canoe trips where weight and bulk isn't an issue. So that'll go straight onto the canister, and you can put a nice chain there. You can hang it from the tree or from whatever, and it throws out a surprising amount of light. Actually, that's quite a good product. Yeah, so that's my my gas cookers. From now on, I think I'll be using the Crux on all my lightweight walks, on account of it's new and fancy. Alright guys, I hope someone got something out of that, and if you have any questions about gas cookers, let me know, because I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you. Bye.